Hey everybody, and welcome to Don't Copy That Floppy. I'm your host Lex.
And I'm your other host Dan.
It's Friday.
Yeah, you go.
It's Friday, October 7th. We are a video game news podcast, broadcasting live on Fridays from 7 to 8 p.m. on www.chipit.net. Also, www.twitch.tv/DCTF podcast. We can be found on a whole bundle of social media.
We got your Facebook, we got your Twitter, we got your YouTube, we got your iTunes, we got your Steam. We're on all that stuff. Follow us. We're also on Patreon.
That's more important than any of those other things, because that's the one that gives us money.
We gotta get that. We gotta make that paper.
Yeah.
Listen, talking about video games is hard. We gotta get paid.
But if you want to check us out on any of that social media, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But specifically, if you want to support the show, the Patreon, check us out on there. There's all sorts of cool reward tiers. You can get bonus content.
Also, to support the show, please leave a nice review for us on iTunes.
That would be great.
Because that supports the show in its own way. Gets us noticed.
Yeah.
We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, what are we talking about this week, Dan?
We got through that opening nice and smooth. I like that. That was good.
There were some choppy segments.
No, it was good. It was good. I liked it.
Okay.
We got to talk about the Oculus Rift a little bit. VR has been a big topic, and that is just continuing on.
At least it's not about Palmer Lucky's political leanings. It's actually real VR news.
It's real VR news. We got to talk a little bit about our favorite guys over at Digital Homicide, the little developer that could. I don't want to know if I should say they could or they couldn't. The little developer that can't even.
We got to remember to check their GoFundMe later.
Oh, yeah, we do. We also have some Blizzard Entertainment news, a little bit of World of Warcraft, and some Overwatch stuff. Some more Pokemon news, which has pretty much become the norm every week at this point, whether it's Pokemon Go or Sun and Moon or anything else related to Pokemon. And then just some other little game announcements. We have a new video game movie announcement as well. Or, I guess not full announcement, but a thing of like, hey, we're gonna think about doing this.
Ooh.
And then we'll end off with a look at the games that have recently come out, as well as games that are coming out in the near future. So Lex, why don't you take us into this Oculus Rift news?
Oh man, so Oculus Rift, they made some announcements. At this, what is it? A connection? It's Connect. Connect. It's just called Connect. Some sort of event. But it was yesterday. They made a bunch of announcements at it. October 6th, yesterday.
Yep.
And we're looking at an article from Polygon that talks about some of this stuff. First announcement that took a lot of people by storm is the new PC rig minimum spec for the Oculus Rift headset is now like half the price that it used to be.
Can I say this quote in my businessman voice?
Yes, you may.
PC VR is more affordable than ever.
Excellent.
And you hold your hands out like this in front of you.
Yeah. So this went from...
Look, that guy, he's doing it.
He is doing it.
Saying it.
He knows what's going on. So this used to be like one of the big gripes when Oculus and really all the VR headsets came out was the fact that the computers you needed to run them were already pretty expensive. So like the cheapest you could get at launch of these things for a computer that could run them properly was like $1,000 or a little more.
Yeah.
And the problem with running a computer worse than that was because if you're dropping frames and you're dropping frames on a VR headset, you're going to get sick.
Right. And if you're looking to build your own computer, you get a really nice computer for $1,000.
This is true.
But if you're not going to build your own computer, it's probably going to cost you even more than that.
Oh, definitely.
To get a PC that was going to be able to run it effectively, as far as we knew.
Yeah. So they announced they've written this new code.
Yes.
Asynchronous Spacewarp is what they're calling it, which is, of course, they're calling it that.
Sure.
That's just something nerds want to name.
It sounds like a working title for a video game.
But this code allows them to lower the system specs dramatically on this stuff.
Right.
So we're going from an Intel i5 4590 equivalent to an Intel i3 6100.
No, I'm not up on my processors that much. And I don't know what the i5 is as far as the amount of cores and gigahertz and teraflops and all that crap.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know the i3 is like a dual core processor.
Yeah.
So it's not a particularly powerful processor. Like, most of the time you get quad-core or more these days.
Yeah.
Or, like, stronger ones.
We also are going down in graphics card from an NVIDIA GTX 970 to a regular old NVIDIA 960. So that's actually not as dramatic a jump. I mean, the GTX thing actually does make a pretty big difference, but otherwise
I'm going to be completely honest. Graphics cards confuse me.
They were really confusing. But yeah, so now you can build your own PC for this for about $500.
It still requires 8 gigs of RAM, although 8 gigs of RAM has become much more the norm.
Yeah, it's not as big a deal these days.
Especially if you're going to be playing games.
And that was the thing that when the Oculus came out, I was like, well, that wasn't the thing that really threw you.
HDMI video input, that's easy now.
Yeah.
USB ports. Although apparently now you can do it with one USB 3.0 and two USB 2.0s, whereas it used to be two USB 3.0s.
Oh.
So they've changed like the array of USB inputs it requires.
That's interesting.
I'm assuming that's because more hardware these days only has a couple 3.0 ports, and they didn't want it to be monopolizing those on your machine.
Also, that's interesting.
And you usually have a lot of USB 2.0 ports.
Oh, definitely.
Because I think my computer has like 2 3s, and then there's a whole bunch on the back. I have like 8 more USB inputs, but they're all 2.0.
Can I do an aside story real quick?
Yeah.
I went to buy a thumb drive the other day, and they were all 3.0 USB 3.0 thumb drives.
Really?
And I'm like, why do I need this? How fast do I need my thumb drive to be? I just need 2.0.
Gotta be light and fast.
But
Get
now,
your solid-state thumb drive.
But the problem is now that because they're all 3.0, they all cost like significantly more. I'm like, I just want to spend like $6 and get like another 8 gig thumb drive.
Is a solid-state thumb drive, would that just be like a box on a stick?
Probably.
With like nothing else going on.
I got so frustrated at Staples, I just knocked over a display, ran out.
Oh my god.
Anyway, back to this.
I thought it was covered in pens or something really hard to pick up, too.
I feel so bad for the Staples employees.
Such a monster.
Yeah. They are
history's greatest
they get
monster.
They get enough crap, you know?
They get enough crap.
But anyway, so the price has gone way down for this.
Yes.
Apparently the reason that this, what was it, asynchronous warp technology.
Spacewarp.
Oh, Spacewarp. Sorry.
Put it together, man.
Space field bending event horizon software. This software, the way it works is it takes, I don't think it's every other frame, but it's like every however many frames, and then cuts a frame out.
So it's dropping frames.
Yeah, it's dropping frames. What it's doing is the software is processing it, being like, oh, I'm taking these 2 frames and I'm looking between them and I'm like figuring out what would go in there.
It's like
I'm generating a frame that would make sense in there.
It's like animation.
It is kind of like
animation. You draw keyframes that are the important things, and then somebody else draws is usually called an in-betweener.
Yeah,
draws the frames in between.
Yeah,
in the way that would make sense for them to be there.
Yeah,
yeah. And it delivers a stable 45 per second. They say so. We're dropping 1 out of every 4 frames. I'm assuming because we're looking at 60 as probably the starting benchmark there. For the store? I
think so.
That seems like the typical. They've also said that there's a new $499 Oculus-ready AMD-powered PC built by CyberPower.
Oh, CyberPower, a company I've definitely heard of.
Me too. I love their computers. They're so affordable. But yeah. But it's a good example. They're selling a computer that can run Oculus, probably on the more or less minimum specs, for $500.
Yes.
So that's what you're looking at. If you want to spend even more money...
Yeah, so I know what you're thinking. Oh, Oculus is finally cheaper. Well, guess what? Add another $200 on there, because they also announced...
I need a new computer, I need a headset, and what am I going to do without my Oculus Touch controllers for $199.99 a piece?
Yeah!
$199 for your Touch controller. Oculus announced that their VR Touch controllers, which we did a story on when these were unveiled, because I remember them because they look weird. They will be released on December 6th for $199. It'll come with VR Sports Challenge and The Unspoken.
Whoa.
Game sounds intense.
Whoa.
So yeah, like we just said, it just keeps on going. That price keeps on going up.
Yep.
So say you don't have a computer for Oculus, and you're like, I'm going to do the bare minimum cheap thing. $500 for a computer.
Yep.
How much is the Oculus? $600?
You know, I haven't checked in a while. I'm not sure if the price has gone down. I can check right now.
Please check. I think it's still $600. So that's $1,100 plus $200 for a single controller. You're already looking at $1,300. And granted, the PC you can get more use out of. You can do other stuff with that.
You were correct, $600.
Okay. The PC you'll get more use out of if you don't already have a computer. Because it's like, now I have a laptop. I can do a bunch of stuff with this. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, you have just dropped $800 plus whatever of the PC you want to throw on top of that. So you can wave your hands around and stand like an idiot in your room.
Yes. and not play any good games because there are none out.
And not play any good games yet.
You can play a lot of really cool tech demos that will keep you occupied for 15 minutes to a half an hour.
And you and me, I think you and me have notoriously been like, well, you tried out
the Vive and
said it was pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah. But
I wouldn't want to own one, though.
That's the thing. I think in spite of that, because I remember you saying, like, oh, I tried a Vive, it was really cool. Both of us, I think, have been naysayers of VR for pretty much this whole time. And of the opinion that it's still too expensive and does not have a robust enough games, like, backing of games to make it worth it. And it won't be for the next few years that we get, like, more affordable VR tech that also has good games to go along with it.
Yeah, they really need, like, we've said this a million times before, but it needed a launch library of AAA titles.
And launch libraries have notoriously been poor for several console generations now.
But a lot of the time, companies are able to rebound by having, like, the one or two franchise games.
Get your killer app.
Yeah, pretty much. Get Killzone in there.
Get your Killzone 2 in there.
But
it
no.
comes out 5 years after your console.
But seriously, Call of Duty, Legend of Zelda, Halo Man. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Mr. Chef. So when those kind of titles are in your starting launch lineup, you're going to be okay, because they're going to sell. I was going to ask, where's Eve Valkyrie? And I was just...
Where is Eve Valkyrie?
It supposedly comes out this month. It comes out in October.
Oh my god.
Maybe we'll talk about that at the end of the show.
On the Oculus.
Maybe one game. And supposedly there's going to be that Star Wars game where you get to be in a TIE fighter, but I don't know when that's coming out. Maybe soon. I don't know.
Maybe soon.
Maybe. But yeah, no, this was again, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but these are all the things that needed to come out when the Oculus came out.
Yeah. Because this thing's been out for a while now, but, like, I keep forgetting that it's even out. Because no one's talking about it, really.
Because nobody owns it, except the early adopters all bought it, and as we did a story, a couple months ago, or a couple weeks ago, I don't remember, about how there were, after all the early adopter stuff has all ended...
Oh, the sales just, like...
And the sales just bottomed out,
Yeah, they're gone.
Nobody's buying it. There's no reason to. There's no reason to.
There's no reason to.
Unless you just want to have a cool VR thing. But all the people who had that mindset have already bought it.
Exactly.
Oh, you zoomed in pretty far, man.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, there you go.
We need to be able to see it. So this is actually cool news. Because we had news, I believe, last week? Or the week before?
A little while ago. Yeah. So this is sort of an update.
Yeah.
But before we had been talking about how Sony and Bethesda had been at odds. Bethesda was trying to bring mods to consoles for Fallout 4 and Skyrim. Was it Enhanced Edition, I think?
Yeah.
Special Edition, that's what it is. And they were able to do that on the Xbox. It should really be called
Skyrim Enhanced Edition.
Yes.
Calling it Skyrim Special Edition makes it sound like the game is just coming out. Like, you're getting the special edition of the game.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. Because this is a remaster, right?
Yeah.
HD remaster.
It should be called Skyrim HD, or Skyrim Remastered.
Yeah.
Or Skyrim Enhanced.
Because that is what it is.
Not Skyrim Special Edition.
Oh, because, like, there must already be a Skyrim Special Edition from when it actually...
was a Skyrim Special Edition.
Oh, man, Bethesda, you make dumb ideas sometimes.
Although it was probably called, like, the Dovahkiin Edition, or, like, some dumb crap.
What was it? It's not Dragonborn, right?
Yeah, the Dragonborn.
Oh, okay. Because now I'm thinking of D&D.
Dragonborn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but... So they ripped off D&D. They really need to have better naming conventions, okay? But that's not what the story is about. The story is about how they were trying to get mods for those two games. They got them on the Xbone without significant problems, and they seem to be working well, and people are enjoying them. But they could not get the negotiations to work for them to be released on Sony with mods. And as of this week, as of October 5th, a couple days ago, they finally reached an accord with Sony.
Because the initial problem was Sony wanted all of the mods to go through quality control.
Yes.
Before they were put up.
And considering how many there would be...
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
But at the same time, that makes sense from their standpoint.
No, it does. I understand why Sony was like, well, we don't want all of these naked mods all over the place, all these sex game mods, GTA 5 mods.
You do want that. Because that sells games.
It totally does. But at the same time, Sony was just like, those dirty computer people can have that.
Skyrim is still talked about a lot on the internet. And all I'm going to tell you is that it's still talked about. It's definitely not still talked about because of the content in the vanilla game. It is mostly talked about because of buxom orc women.
Listen, I've been on Pornhub, I know.
You've seen it.
I've seen it.
Everybody who's in the know is in the know. That's all we're saying.
You know what actually some of the funniest stuff is those people who, what is that called? Source Maker or something? The thing that allows you to just... Or maybe that's for Team Fortress.
The Source Engine is like one of Valve's engines.
Okay, I'm thinking something else. But the people who make... like Skyrim or other game too, like pornography, but they're like really not good at their like motion animations, and it's just like really weird and unnatural looking. There's all this clipping.
Are you thinking of like Gary's mod? That program where you could load like 3D models into and then kind of drag them around?
Yeah, I think I assume that's what people are using for this stuff.
Yeah, and all the animations are just all messed up.
That's like... Those things are
these rigid skeletons.
Some of that stuff on Pornhub is just worth watching for a good laugh.
Oh, it's the best.
Because it's really funny.
Well, you can look at like the MMO Second Life.
Oh my god.
It's like fully moddable, and of course people were like, well, we gotta be able to have sex in Second Life.
Well, yeah.
Like, well, why else is Second Life worth living?
But then all the people who are doing that just are like really bad at modding.
They're really bad at it, but the heart is there. Listen, their avatar is a 13-foot tall dragon with a 20-foot penis. And he needs a new mesh that'll support that humping animation you've been working on. We'll pay big bucks.
So, we've gotten derailed, but that's sort of
really derailed.
It's kind of what the story's about.
So Sony didn't want that.
Sony didn't want that, understandably. So they have been at odds with Bethesda about this, and finally they reached an accord in the negotiations, and now we're going to get mods. But this accord,
there's a caveat here.
Yeah, all the things we were just talking about with the buxom Dragonborn ladies, not going to be in any of these mods.
Not allowed,
because you can only use in-game assets,
which means these mods are going to suck.
That's the problem. So this is also Fallout 4 and Skyrim. They're good games. They got a lot of stuff in them.
Yeah.
But if you're modding them, you kind of want to make new stuff.
Yeah.
And if you can't import assets...
All this really lets you do is make, like, dungeons and, like, little quests and stuff.
You actually can't do very much questing because the assets thing also blocks you from importing scripts.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, so there's actually very little that you can do with this.
Well, maybe it'll get better. This is a step in the right direction.
It definitely is a step in the right direction. And it's also kind of like, the people who really, really want like to do all to play all the crazy mod stuff, they really want this buxom Dragonborn, they're probably going to... They care enough about that stuff to invest in a PC that can do it.
Yes.
Yes.
And the best technology available. The best technology available for crafting these Skyrim experiences.
Well, also the fact that, like, what are you already jerking off in front of? Not your console. Not your console.
Unless you're some kind of, like, weirdo.
I know, right? That's weird.
That's creepy.
It's gotta...
If you look up porn on your PS4 web browser, you're a weirdo. That's what your computer is for.
You heard it here.
And maybe your phone, but only when you're at work.
Exactly. Because you can't use your work computer for that. Your boss is going to find out.
But no one will ever find out if it's on your phone. That's the trick. Oh, God.
Okay, we're gonna move on to something else.
Speaking of steps in the right direction, Digital Homicide is closing.
Hooray!
Hooray! So, we talked a lot about Digital Homicide. Long story short, they're a studio that makes bad games, and when they got called out for making bad games, they decided, no, we don't, and decided to go on a mad rampage attacking everybody they possibly could.
A mad lawsuit rampage.
About, like, who wanted to talk crap about their bad games. Look at this game. You can look at this screenshot and know immediately how bad this game is.
God, it looks terrible.
That's the default font. That's just computer font. This is the font that appears when you turn on a computer.
Slaughtering Grounds.
There's no effort here. So that's Slaughtering Grounds. Anyway... So Digital Homicide...
They most recently tried to sue a bunch of people who gave negative reviews to their games.
We're trying to sue Steam users.
Yeah, like 100 Steam users. They went to Steam and they said, Steam, we're going to sue you unless you give us the personal information of all these users.
Yeah.
And Steam was like, in response to that, we're going to just...
ban you from Steam.
Yeah, we're just going to remove all your games, ban you from Steam.
Yeah, good job, idiots.
So, Digital Homicide was interviewed again recently, and they had some quotes about this there, and they decided they're going to close their doors.
Yes.
Because now they don't have a source of income.
But then James Romine, he said they dismissed their court case only because of the financial reasons caused by the removal of their games. So, a similar case that they brought against the video game critic and YouTube personality Jim Sterling, seeking $10.7 million, waits for dismissal decision. But Mr. Romine would not comment further.
Okay, so this is interesting. I actually think this is kind of funny, because it's like, Romine seems to have tried to dismiss the thing against Steam users. My assumption, the reason why he's doing that, like, A, because he has no money, and B, because... he puts himself at risk for a countersuit.
Yeah.
And if Valve countersues you, you're going to feel it.
They got a case.
Yeah. They got a case, and they got a lot of money for lawyers. They can destroy you if they wanted to. And they already took away your games on their platform, so they kind of already have, but they could like, destroy your entire financial future.
Yeah.
If they wanted to. But, so I think that's why he moved to dismiss. But it's funny because the Jim Sterling thing, he hasn't been able to yet. And I'm like, oh, Jim Sterling, please countersue him. Please countersue him.
So he basically goes on to say that now he is blaming the video game media for painting him and his studio in a negative customer light and claiming that they've been fighting for lower prices in a more open market. So
oh my God.
They're really the heroes here, is what we're learning now.
That quote is like the most revisionist history.
Dude, they did it for the customers.
They did, yeah. They sued the customers for the customers.
They did it. They're fighting for us. They're fighting for the little guys.
They're just, oh my God, they suck so bad.
They're the worst. They keep digging their hole deeper. When will it end? When will the hole be deep enough?
They were as far as Digital Homicide, this is a great quote I gotta read. As far as Digital Homicide, it's destroyed, said Romine. It's been stomped into the ground from 1,000 directions, and its use is discontinued. I'm going back into the workforce and watching what's really going on.
That's what's really going on.
I love that last line, because it sounds like super conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
These
freaking screenshots of this game.
It's funny because look at it and the character model doesn't look horrible.
Some of the environmental stuff doesn't look bad either.
But then all the text overlay looks like garbage.
That's so bad.
And you know that the way they made these games. One of the
my God, that's a monster! I thought it was a rock.
Oh, me too. So one of the things they were heavily accused of, especially with Slaughtering Ground, is just using assets, like blatantly just buying an asset off of the Unity store and just sticking it in the game without doing any editing to it. So then all of the different models in their game look really inconsistent because they're bought from different people.
Like they bought all their. It's like they got like a game engine and are just trying to build a game with the assets that come with the engine.
Yeah,
like
there's definitely
for, like,
some
testing
of that.
purposes.
Yep. So but yeah, they're done. They're just so. I can't believe
this is the last we've heard of Digital Homicide.
You know, I
you
posted
think it
this.
Really is.
I posted this on social media, and I said, I honestly don't think this is the last we've heard of them.
I don't think so either. I think something else is going to happen.
They're going to try and come back, or one of the things that they were accused of with the Steam stuff was making all of these games that were just clones of the other games, so that they could release lots of Steam trading cards, and then people could grab these cards and then sell them, and then Digital Homicide would get a cut of that sale, as I think any developer does when you sell one of their cards.
Yeah.
And that was like the way they were trying to make the majority of their money.
I don't understand how Steam trading cards work.
No, it's just like the CS:GO skins. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I've sold a few of them, but I'm like, where's this money coming from? Why is anyone buying these from me? I don't know, but now I have $2.
Yeah, which is enough to buy a Steam game.
Yeah, so like that's why I did it, but I don't get it.
I don't get it.
I just don't get it.
But yeah, no. So one of the things they were accused of was actually making multiple, like, game companies or game developer pages, so that they could do more shovelware.
Right.
So I would be super unsurprised if at some point someone reported on some random indie studio that popped up on Steam that's actually just them under a different name in the next month. That's gonna happen.
Seems likely.
Let's see what their GoFundMe is at.
Yeah, check that out.
Digital Homicide GoFundMe. This is something they started when they started the lawsuit with Jim Sterling, so it was a while ago. It was in March, so it's been up for 6 months. As of...
Have they gotten any more money?
As of 8 days ago, Michael Cox gave them $25.
Oh my god!
Which I think we reported on the last episode of our show because we checked it then.
We might have.
But before that, the most recent donation had been 5 months ago. So... and it's funny because they're at $450 out of a $75,000 goal. So, they're close. And they have someone who anonymously gave them $200. So a huge chunk of that money is just from one person who, as we've speculated on in the past, probably a family member. So let's move on to some esports.
Esports. So last Saturday, they had the finals of the Overwatch Open, which apparently was happening all through September. Mm-hmm. Just I didn't really know about it. But the big finals happened. They were aired on TBS.
TBS? Not even ESPN, TBS.
Me and my wife watched them. Because we were like, hey, why don't we watch Overwatch on TV?
And then after it's over, you can watch some Conan O'Brien?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Sounds like a great evening. That should
be more or less what we did.
Yeah. Fantastic.
It paid out $100,000 to Misfits, which is the European team. They were up against NVUS or NVUS. I don't know how to say their name. It's one of those dumb gamer tag names where whatever, just capital letters where they don't belong and things like that.
Destiny 420.
Apparently, Misfits were the underdogs here. Everyone was saying, "Oh, NVUS is the best team. They're so good at Overwatch," and Misfits beat them 3-1.
Wow.
So they did a pretty good job. I was hyped because I didn't appreciate the strong bias of the announcers towards the US team. Because through the whole thing, anytime the European team was doing a good job, they'd be like, oh, but how will the US team fight back? They can still do it. I believe in them. I'm like, this is biased commentating. I don't appreciate it.
Yeah, because when...
it was heavily biased.
It's weird, too, because with US sports teams, right, you've got, Well,
each team does typically have their own, commentators for, on the radio and stuff.
But during the game, during a football game, right?
Yeah.
Or football game. You're not gonna see a lot of bias in the people that are the sportscasters that are doing it, like on like Monday Night Football or whatever. But it's weird because those are American teams going up against other American teams, whereas here we've got teams not from out of state but from out of country,
right?
And you do see a lot of bias in like the U.S. coverage of the Olympics. They're just like, oh, let's just look at all the U.S. athletes. Actually, a lot of people, I remember when I was watching the Olympics, I was reading stuff on Twitter about people being like, hey, if you want to watch some like international coverage where they actually cover everything and not just the U.S. stuff, go here. So it's interesting that now we're falling into that trap, but because I assume that just if it's happening in the U.S., it's just U.S. outlets covering it. Maybe there are people from Europe coming over and covering it as well.
And covering it more favorably towards Misfits' side.
Yeah, but it still would be nicer if we had some impartial organizations doing that.
Yeah, I would think so. I think so too, because it was it got annoying at a point where how like clearly in the U.S. team camp all the commentators were. Also, like, it was kind of cool to watch, and we both had some complaints when we were watching it, though, but I guess some of them are things that can't really, not a lot can be done about. Mm-hmm. And granted, I haven't watched a ton of esports coverage before, so I don't know how typical this is, but there were multiple parts in matches where they sped up the footage by probably about 2 times, and it made it really hard to watch.
That's 2 times speed is pretty fast.
That's what it seemed like to me. Because characters were running around really, really quickly, and it was very difficult to see what was going on. And they would only slow it down when, like, something important happened. Like, Reaper spun in a circle shouting, die, die, die. And they were like, look at that Reaper! And they're like, look at this combo, amazing teamwork! Like, and they talked, like, non-stop through the whole thing, too. That commentating did not stop for even a moment.
See, that's a little annoying because that's
which got a little obnoxious as well.
Because that's not what sports commentators usually do.
No,
there's like when there's the kickoff, there's like that silence. Yeah, it builds dramatic tension, which is good. You need to have that,
right? So there was, and I guess it's because esports is still sort of a fledgling industry, and I also assume that maybe a bunch of people watch. They want to have an outlet there for the people who are watching who are not as familiar with video games, or specifically not as familiar with the game being played.
Yeah.
So they want to have that constant, like, this is what's going on style commentating. But if you know anything about video games in general, I feel like you can glean enough.
If you're actually the target audience, then you don't need it.
And I have a hard time believing there's a lot of people who are not in the target audience bothering to tune into this.
On the other hand, if it's on TBS, the more sort
of... Is that like 10 p.m., I think, on TBS?
Oh, that's pretty late.
Yeah.
But no, I feel like as the more they go into, like, networks that not only have not shown that kind of stuff before, but show sports less than other networks. Yeah. I think it makes sense that that's their mindset that they want to do that, because they're assuming there's going to be people who are turning it on.
What is this?
Yeah, they're like, I want to watch my Big Bang Theory reruns. I'm going to turn on TBS. What's this? What's this stuff? Oh, I'm kind of interested, but I don't understand what's going on. Thankfully, these announcers are telling
me exactly what Mr. Reinhardt is doing right now. What I did like is they had a big overlay on the screen when you were watching gameplay, where at the top, on the left and right, they had each team's name, and then under that they had each player's name, all 6 players on each team.
Yep.
And below that, and they had a little portrait of which character they were currently playing. Their health bar, so you could keep track of who was, like, dying and who wasn't.
Nice.
And under that they had their percentage for their ultimate move charge. So that made it kind of cool, because you watching it could see where both teams were at as far as setting up ultimate combos and, like, keeping their stuff together. And you get it allowed you to kind of watch it and be like, oh, I bet they're going to do this. I bet this is coming. And that was pretty neat. So the fact that all that information was so readily presented to the viewer was really well done. As someone who does know how the game works, and was watching that. And it was also just interesting to see, because I play Overwatch, professional teams playing it and seeing the difference. The primary difference being, oh my god, they actually stick together and, like, use their abilities in concert with one another. What a novel concept.
Like, they work as a team.
They actually work as a team in this team-based shooter. What a novel concept.
Wow.
But it was cool. It was neat to watch. I've never really watched esports, so I had fun. But admittedly, I did fast forward through, like, large chunks of it, because there was lots of in-between stuff, too, where they're just like, next, we're going to this map, and let's take a spotlight on this team member. And to be frank, I don't really care about esports athletes. Like, I'll watch the game being played, and that's fun, but I don't care about any of the people playing it.
I mean, I guess that I understand why they do that, because they do that in other sports.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And yeah, there's certainly people that care about all that stuff, especially people who want to bet on things.
That's true.
They want to know all the averages.
Yeah. I will say, one of those guys on the American team, his name was like Taimu or something. That dude played a mean Roadhog.
Nice.
And they played us, and they're like, this is his character. It's time. He brought out Roadhog. And I was like, oh, what's he going to do? And I'm like, damn, that guy's good as Roadhog. It was pretty impressive. It was real good. Also, the commentating's funny because in like sports, you see like, oh, he's going to have to hit a home run or a double at least if they want to score any runs here. Or like, it's very like subdued commentating about just like parts of the game. But it's way more fun with a game like this when the commentator's like, now you gotta remember, Roadhog can throw out that hook every 6 seconds. It's wicked goofy.
Nice. Yeah, you know what also must be great about that is you don't have to worry about referees and timeouts.
No.
I mean, I guess there can be timeouts, can't there? Can teams call timeouts in
It would have
esports?
to be between games. Like, between full matches. Because they played a best 3 out of 5 rotation. So, I don't think you'd be allowed to pause the game mid-game.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were allowed
Maybe
to do
between rounds or between full matches, but I don't really know.
Got some carpal tunnel setting in. We gotta have a timeout.
They took breaks between every match.
Yeah,
like they would take like 15 between the match to like
which is also similar to regular sports. But yeah, it must be great to not have to deal with refs.
Yeah, actually,
that must cut down on so much of the fat of the sports broadcast. Yeah,
that's actually I didn't even think about that. As far as Overwatch itself goes, we're in October now. That means Halloween's coming.
Ooh, spooky.
There's already been some leaks of some spooky things that are coming to Overwatch. Much like they did with the summer games, I'd imagine there's going to be some new skins and sprays and voice lines for every character and fun stuff like that. There's still some balance changes on the way, including pretty dramatic balance changes to Symmetra, who is this lovely lady right here. She is currently the least picked hero in the game.
Oh.
Because she's very situational.
Oh.
She's a support character who's all about setting up turrets and doing weird, like, teleporter stuff and everything. She's really cool, but she is very situational. And they're like, nobody plays Symmetra, we gotta change her. So, allegedly, in November, there's going to be some major changes coming to her as a character. Also, in early November or late October, people are expecting to see and possibly play very shortly after the next new character, who is being speculated to be a character named Sombra, that they've been hinting at for a very long time now.
Yeah.
Sombra. Very Spanish. But also the Day of the Dead's coming up, and all of Sombra's imagery that they've shown is like little like Day of the Dead style skulls and things.
Oh, that's fun.
And she has some sort of relationship with Reaper.
Now there's going to be 2 Edge Masters.
Yeah, we get a girl Edge Master to go with Reaper. It'll be great.
She's going to be so much cooler than him.
Hey man, I'm way better as Reaper than I wish I was. So yeah, they also said that they have a prototype character going right now too, who's still using like placeholder models and animations, but they're working on them to prove that the character is fun as far as their mechanics goes. But that character will probably not arrive until sometime in 2017.
Okay.
We'll see the light of day, but they are working on a second one as well right now. And there's 4 maps in the works, as well as new game modes. A new map did come out recently that's really good, actually. This German, like, Castle Town map.
Yeah, I think we reported on that.
It's a great map. I love it a lot. But it's good to hear there's more on the way, and I know people have really been jonesing for new game modes, because there haven't been any since the game launched. So that'll be fun, too. I do hope they stay away from just, like, straight deathmatch style stuff, though. Because that, I think, Overwatch shines better when there's an objective, rather than just kill everybody. Because it really brings you together as a team when something like that matters. While we're on the topic of Blizzard, all this stuff has been coming out about Warcraft Legion pushing WoW's subscriber numbers back over 10 million. And it's still unclear, like, whether this is true or not. But some people are like, World of Warcraft made its comeback. It's over 10 million subscribers. But as this article says, from the 4th, Blizzard has not confirmed that, apparently. It was an interview with a Polish gaming magazine called Pixel, as reported by a poster on NeoGAF, that they shot back past 10 million subscribers following the launch of Legion, which would be a huge bounce back since last we heard in November 2015, which was the last time they provided the numbers. They had dropped to 5.5 million. So that's like doubling again.
Because Warlords came out in October or November of last year.
And Warlords of Draenor was like... meh.
Yeah, but it boosted their numbers. I just don't remember how much. They might have gotten... I thought they got like almost to 8, but then it dropped off almost immediately.
It dropped off
after
fast,
that. Yeah,
for sure. The quote from the NeoGAF user said, "It's our current subscriber numbers are around 10.1 million. It's difficult to say what the future will bring. We have an internal competitor, Overwatch, but it's possible it'll get even higher than 12 million. There are plenty of potential takers, and there are over 100 million World of Warcraft accounts." So this goes on and on. They've reached out to Blizzard for news about that, but aren't really getting any response. The expansion sold 3.3 million copies by launch day, which is, like, big, and ties it with 2010's Cataclysm expansion. So that's a pretty big deal, but we may never know. Is World of Warcraft bouncing back again?
I mean, even if it did bounce back to 10 mil...
there will be a fall-off.
There will be a fall-off. And it just depends on how like many subs they bleed in the in these few months.
Right. Time will tell, I guess.
I mean, I'm just shocked that they have, even when they have just 5.5 million, just 5.5 million playing this decade-old game.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
It's a good game. They did a good job.
They did a good job.
They did a good job.
They got the formula down. Hey, how about that? Look at those guys.
Oh my gosh, Pokemon Sun and Moon, we got shown the second stage evolutions, because these aren't the final evolutions.
No, these are the middle evolutions, which are notoriously the awkward teenage phase.
This is true.
Starters.
This is true.
And that holds true here, I would say.
Oh, yeah. So the starters are, oh gosh, what were their names?
Rowlet.
The owl guy, Litten.
And Paplio.
Paplio, the seal clown thing.
So, let's get right into this here by asking the important question. Alex, how do you feel about each of these evolutions? Whether by themselves or also in comparison to the starters?
Okay, so in comparison to the starters, I don't like them.
Okay.
You
don't like any of them?
No. Overall, I am underwhelmed, but there are some that I like more than others.
Okay.
Paplio, the starter version of Paplio, I was like, okay, it looks a little goofy, but if they take the design in a certain direction, I can see liking it, and they just took it in the opposite direction I wanted them to, and I don't like it. Okay. But again, Final Form might be better. Yeah. Litten just kind of looks like a bigger, fuller grown version of the same thing.
He's just fatter and sassier.
He just doesn't look very different. And then Rowlet is the one that I like best of all, because I like the starter version. Yeah. Maybe I like the starter version more. I like the starter version a lot. Yeah. But I like the evolution because I think it looks fun and got great hipster hair going on.
Yes. So I'm bummed out because Litten was my favorite starter. Probably my least favorite second evolution.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I actually like the seal. I actually think the seal is my favorite.
It's garbage. It's hot garbage.
Nope.
It's wet garbage.
Because I saw that seal and I was like, that thing's going to be water fairy type. Called it. Look at that. Tell me that's not going to evolve into a water fairy type.
Oh, it is.
Tell me. It's the best.
Sure.
It's a fucking anime seal. It's a magical girl seal. It's dope. The cat I don't like because he stopped looking blazed and like skinny, and now he looks like a chunky nerd. He's like a dork.
And he looks very smug. His expression is very smug.
I don't want that. I liked Litten because he just looks like, oh man, I don't want to do this.
Yeah,
I'm tired. He just looks like he looked lit.
Yeah,
you know. And Rowlet, I like his second form.
Yeah.
I think it's alright. He's got that little Fabu hair going on.
He really doesn't look that different. He probably looks the least different.
He's still got the bow tie.
Yeah.
And he's a little taller. And he's got, like, fabulous hair that he, like, in the video, he show him, like, flipping it out of his face.
Oh, so good.
So, we had that leak of the final stages a little while ago, and a ton of people are now saying, like, oh, those are 100% confirmed now, because look at these second evolutions.
Did we report on the leak of the final stages?
We did.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Because Litten's was a big luchador wrestler. Rowlet's was this, like, archer, Robin Hood-looking owl with, like, a hood. And the Seal's was, like, a big, foofy mermaid-looking thing. Very similar to this.
Okay.
So I will agree that probably the final stage of the Seal is going to look somewhat like that leak. Not sold on Litten.
No, Litten looks like he's just going for, like, Fire Lion when he grows up.
His last stage is Fire Lion or Fire Tiger or something.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't become a bipedal thing.
That would be weird, because it doesn't look like he's going in that direction
They
at all.
can save this design of this
still
cat.
Save
they
it.
can save it if it's not a luchador.
If his final form looks super blazed, they've saved it.
Yeah, he just gets wicked fat. And just goes back to being tired.
He's out with Snorlax all the time.
He's out with Snorlax and a Alolan Raticate. He's too lazy to even kill the rat. And the owl, people are like, it's 100% confirmed, it's 100% confirmed. This owl does not look like it's going to evolve into Robin Hood.
No.
This owl looks like he's going to evolve into a dapper butler.
It does look like
Which
that.
is awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
That's terrific. Like a super fab butler? That's what I want. So I think those leaks are probably, like, kind of true.
Like someone got a hold of one legit design and then just mocked together other ones?
Or that was an older piece of concept artwork that was changed after the fact.
Yeah.
And the one that stayed the most the same was the Seal.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. Their names, by the way, Rowlet evolves into Dartrix, Litten evolves into Torracat.
Whoa.
And Popplio evolves into Brionne.
Oh.
Sure. They're all still just their same typing. There's been no typing change yet, but with the starters, the typing changes usually happen on their last form. Although I bet the owl will stay grass flying straight through.
Yeah, I don't see that changing too much.
No. Like, look how fab he looks. He's a little butler. A little butler. A little butler.
Exactly. So
people who know. So that's, like, exciting news, although the internet has been going nuts over this, and people are like, worst starters ever, they're terrible, I hate them all. I think they're fine.
They're fine.
Overall, they're fine. I'm just bummed that my favorite starter did not stay my favorite second form.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm gonna hold judgment until we see final, just because, like, I like the starting forms for all of these.
We're in the awkward teenage phase.
So if I have to deal with an awkward teenage one during the game, at least if I have something to look forward to in the final, I'm fine with it.
Charmeleon's not that cool.
No, he's not that
Charizard's awesome.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of other starters where it's like the middle form is just weak compared to the others. So we'll see. Also, there's a demo coming out. We already looked at. There's a demo coming out on the 18th? Yes, on October 18th. And you play through the demo, and you get a Greninja in this demo.
Ugh.
And I'll get him. And if you transfer a completed demo save to the full game, you get to keep that Greninja.
Ugh.
And not only do you get to keep that Greninja, but he can evolve into Ash Greninja. The fusion of Ash and Greninja.
Wait. What?
So in the most recent anime season, Ash became best friends with a Greninja, and it did some dumb thing where it's not a mega evolution, but they're so cool and bro with each other because get Pikachu out of here. He's not Ash's best friend anymore.
God damn it!
Bringing Greninja, the new hotness, and they're so strong and bonded that they can bond, and Ash's mind becomes one with Greninja.
That is so weird.
And Greninja gets stupid Ash hat hair.
Ugh.
I hate this. I hate every part of this. And I'm probably going to play the demo, but I'm going to that Greninja's staying in the box all forever. It's going to be in my PC box till the end of time.
Yeah. Get out of here.
They did also confirm that regular Mega Evolution is coming back to Sun and Moon.
Okay.
Which I was actually hoping they would leave out. Because they added the new Z-move attacks. And they've been moving so away from like trying to do new things that I was kind of hoping Mega Evolutions would take a backseat this time. Although maybe they'll add some more new ones.
Now they got all those Pokemon that aren't Pokemon. We gotta figure out things.
Oh yeah, the super beasts. The ultra beasts.
They're not aliens.
They're gonna beast you.
They might be aliens.
They're alien people.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
We're running a little low on time, so what else we got
Most
here?
of our other stories here are pretty quick, though. We got to think about the new Beyond Good and Evil game.
Oh my gosh.
Remember Beyond Good and Evil?
They've been teasing a sequel to Beyond Good and Evil for a while.
Like a decade.
There was like a cutscene that they put together for like an E3 at some point.
Yep.
But we got sort of confirmation this week from Ubisoft.
I never played this game. Did you?
I didn't play it either,
Okay.
but I've seen I've seen Let's Plays of it.
Yes,
and
I've heard a lot of good things.
And I've heard a lot. It's from like 2003, so Beyond Good and Evil, not a new game.
No, it's like a PS2, Xbox One, or original Xbox era game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, so apparently, Michel Ancel. Sure, Dan.
Say it like a Frenchie.
of Ubisoft officially confirmed that a new game is in development.
And he's the guy who made the first one.
Yeah.
So his word should count for a lot here when he says, like, yes, we are making Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah.
Although it looks to me, based on this art, that it's probably going to be a prequel. Because this art here appears to be the main character's father, we can assume, and the pig guy. As a babby pig. Because he's all grown up. You can see it on the left here. All grown up when he's with Jade? Is that her name?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
In the original game.
So it's not a sequel, it's a prequel.
Probably. They've been very mysterious about that.
Or it'll have, like, flashback sequences.
Yeah.
That's also a possibility.
But
the fact that this is being made is pretty cool.
Yeah. Right now, we still only have concept art. And the word of the guy who's making it. I mean, he is saying, like, I'm working on this game. They're giving me money to make this game. I've started on it.
Yeah.
But the thing that I am sensing from this is that this game is going to get stuck in development hell in a very similar way to games like The Last Guardian.
Mm.
Because it
almost gives that sort of vibe to it.
Yeah,
too.
it's like that cool niche, like indie title,
kind of strange world adventure game.
Yeah,
with a very interesting story
that has a cult following.
Yep.
And hasn't had a sequel in a very long time.
Kind of a unique art style to it.
Yeah,
and everything.
And as we know, Last Guardian is actually going to come out supposedly, allegedly.
In 2 months, we may be playing it.
So it makes me think that Beyond Good and Evil 2 probably is going to come out, but we might be waiting a while.
Yeah. So hold on to your butts, your pork butts, and taters. Got a little cow and chicken reference in there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Everybody's favorite.
What's going on with Stardew Valley?
Stardew Valley just got a really big update.
Oh.
Stardew Valley just got its 1.1 update a few days ago that adds a bunch of stuff. You can get a divorce because new romance options have been added. So for all you people who really wanted to romance Emily or Shane, now's your chance. And if you already married somebody else, you can get a divorce. And it'll break your heart. It also added in some new crops, some new fish, a whole new endgame quest that eventually allows you to build magical buildings, including huts where little cute fairy guys live and they harvest your crops for you. You bring all the crops back to their hut and then you can just go grab it from their hut whenever you want.
Great.
It's really cool. It also added for people who are new to the game or want to start over, there are now 5 options for your starting farm area. You know, the default farm, there's also a Riverland farm that has tons of water, so you can fish and stuff. There's a Hilltop farm that's more mountainous and has, mining areas. There is a Forest farm that has, places to get special wood and, plants. It is a little more, greenery and bigger. There's a big lake. And then there's a Wilderness farm that is similar to the Forest and Mountain one, but monsters spawn there at night. So you have to fight them all on Minecraft. And there's special monsters that only show up there. It's pretty cool. It just added a ton of stuff. So if you played Stardew Valley and kind of got tired of what was there, that was a good chance to go check it out again. Go start playing it again.
Okay.
Which is actually what I did when this came out. I went back to my old save file and was like, try out all this new junk. And it's been fun. It's It's a good game to take a long break from and then go back to. Because you'll kind of forget some stuff and have a good time. So yeah. And also some of these new things cost a ton of money, so it gives you something big to work towards in the game. There's a big clock you can make, I guess, that stops all your fences and things from breaking, but it costs $2,500,000 Stardew bucks monies. It's crazy. Japan made a horse dating sim, which I wasn't going to talk about until I saw these pictures.
Oh my god, we should...
And my wife was like, you have to talk about
We
this.
should have put this as a voting story.
We should have. Look at him.
Oh, you know what? Actually, reason why we didn't put this as a voting story is because this is from this morning.
Oh, yeah.
And we sent out the stories last night.
That's right.
That's why I didn't see it.
Look how handsome this horse is.
This is horrifying.
I know! Look!
So for those who aren't watching the video stream, it's a horse body... But with a human head, but it's still on the horse neck.
This is Bishonen anime man.
And he has the horse ears as well.
Yes.
Oh, that's so freaky.
It's just like Hatoful Boyfriend, but with way more terror. So check that out if you want. What's it called? It's called Uma no Prinsu-sama, which translates into the horse prince.
Oh, it must be when
the tagline of the game is "Won't you be my horse trainer?"
No, but I'm hoping that it's a frog prince thing, and when the horse prince falls in love, he turns into a human
with a horse head.
Yes. He turns into a Bojack Horseman.
He turns into a Bojack Horseman.
and then his life goes downhill after that.
Oh no. Spiral into depression. Universal is allegedly taking a crack at a Gears of War movie.
Oh.
Now, as far as video game movies go, Gears of War is hard to screw up.
It's true. Then again, they did screw up Doom pretty bad.
They did. But that's because they didn't want it to be about, demons and hell.
Yeah, that was
some reason.
That was weird. Why?
That's the only reason they screwed it up. That's literally the only reason. It doesn't make any damn sense.
But at least with Gears of War, you don't have that problem. Now it's just buff alien men.
Big men fight big alien men.
Yes. That are ugly.
With chainsaw gun.
Yep.
You can't screw that up.
The only way they could screw it up is if they don't go for an R rating, and then they try and tame down all the violence, so you don't get any of the chainsawing.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what's going to happen. I'm calling it right now.
So
exactly
Microsoft Studios and Universal Pictures announced plans for this together. It's based on the video game series, obviously. There's no more information, though. It's maybe getting made. And the guy who wrote this Destructoid article really wants John Travolta to play Marcus Phoenix.
That's not going to happen.
That'll never happen.
Never going to happen. Maybe Jason Momoa, if you're lucky.
Do you love Zoids?
I mean, not really.
Yeah, but you do, though.
I'm in the minority here. People do love Zoids.
My wife loves Zoids. And I like Zoids. Zoids is cool. I rewatched Zoids with some of my friends a couple summers ago. It was a good time.
Okay.
Zoids, there's a Zoids game coming. We don't know much else. But Takara Tomi's hey, you guys, there's a teaser image on our website, and now there's more information with new concept art. And a report from Games Talk, by way of Gematsu, the source code for the site once had the tagline, Zoids, Field of Rebellion, which was also copyrighted.
Ooh.
But that was swiftly removed.
Ooh.
The last Zoids game we got was Zoids Assault in 2007 on the Xbox 360, and since then there have been mobile-exclusive follow-ups. And people are thinking this one will also be on mobile, but the person right here on this Destructoid article, Mr. Chris Carter, really wants a VR game.
Zoids is something that could totally work well in VR.
Really could.
Any kind of giant mech game totally could work well in VR.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Make it.
I doubt that's what's happening, though.
So what do we got? What games came out?
Oh my gosh, games coming out.
What just came out?
Did Gears of War 4 just come out? Or is it about to come out? What day is it today? It's the 7th. Oh, it hasn't come out yet.
What day is it?
So what just came out today, Mafia 3,
yes.
Which has been getting a lot of press, and a lot of it positive, which this is a game that I expected to come out and nobody was going to care, or we were going to get some reviews about how it was bad.
See, that's what I thought about Mafia 2.
Yes.
And everybody bought the hell out of it.
So people are liking Mafia 3 that came out today.
Five Nights at Freddy's Sister Location, the 27th game in the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise.
Paper Mario Color Splash, hopefully it will be good.
Hopefully. 100-foot robot golf comes out on the 10th.
Yeah, the most self-explanatory game. You just don't need any other reason to buy it.
If you want some saucy anime girl action, Criminal Girls 2 Party Favors came out on the Vita. If you have a Vita and desperately need a game to play, Criminal Girls 2 has come out.
On the 11th, we got Duke Nukem 3D 20th Anniversary Edition World Tour.
There's a mouthful.
Sounds fun.
Gears of War 4.
Gears of War 4.
Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year celebration.
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
Whatever.
If you need another sexy anime girl game to play on your Vita because you beat Criminal Girls and were like, oh no, I need another game right now, you can get Valkyrie Drive Bikuni? I don't know how to say that word.
I think you
can just get WWE 2K17.
Okay.
That's fine.
On the 13th, there's a ton of stuff coming out.
Yeah.
A lot of VR titles.
Oh my god, there's so many games.
Yeah. But a lot of them are ports to VR.
Yeah.
So we got Batman Arkham VR, Battlezone VR, Drive Club VR. But the game I was talking about at the beginning of the show, Eve Valkyrie, comes out on the 13th. Harmonix Music VR, Hustle Kings VR, which sounds like it's porn.
Shadow Warrior 2 is coming out on PC.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Until Dawn Rush of Blood for PSVR.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, because PlayStation VR either just launched or is about to launch. So now these are all the launch titles. Duh.
Yeah, there's some okay stuff in there.
Yeah.
Why not? So yeah, there's a bunch of games.
Also,
a stealth game called Origami just came out.
I have seen a lot of really interesting stuff about it. Yeah.
I'm thinking about checking it out. It's like a ninja stealth game with a cool art style.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe we'll look into that. But that's it.
And we are super out of time, but thank you for watching or listening. We have been DCTF Podcast, Don't Copy That Floppy. Broadcasting live Fridays, 7 to 8 p.m., chipbit.net. Also, twitch.tv/DCTF Podcast. We're on all sorts of social media, such as Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Steam, and iTunes.
That is correct.
You can follow us, like us on all those places. We'd appreciate it. If you could, leave us a review on iTunes, that would be great. Also,
go to our Patreon and give us money.
You
get stuff for doing it.
Oh yeah, you get bonus content where we talk about movies and TV shows and stuff every month. You also get the ability to vote on stories that we do every week.
Yes.
And you enable us to unlock different milestones, like the Twitch stream. If you are enjoying the show on that or enjoying the video of the show, that Twitch stream is because of a milestone unlock.
Yeah.
Future ones include stuff like YouTube videos and getting just better equipment.
Yeah.
So yeah, is there anything you want to add to that? I think that covers most of our bases there. So I have been Lex.
I've been Dan. And until next week, remember, don't copy that floppy.